What we're going to do is I'm going to go to the help and we're going to follow some steps. So virtual machines. I'm looking to learn more about Windows virtual machines. All right. So they have these quick start guides here. You can create a virtual machine through the portal, which is what we're going to do. That's just this graphical user interface. Or you can use PowerShell or Azure command line interface. We're just going to use the portal. So I've already logged in. I'm logged into Azure, as you can see here, with this test team member account. All right, we're going to create a virtual machine. So choose create a resource in the upper left corner. Create a resource. In the search box above the list, search for and select Windows Server 2016 Data Center. All right, this just says Windows Server 2016, which I assume is the same thing. So we're going to click that. All right, now we have to fill in these sections of information. All right, so we've got provide a virtual machine name. I'm going to say GU Tech Eco House. Leave the disk type as SSD. I'm actually going to change it to HDD. I'm going to try to get this virtual machine to match as closely as possible the one that I have already set up that I showed you before. That one has a hard disk drive. All right, and then we need a username. I'll just use my name, and then password, 12 characters long. All right, I'm just going to say password. It doesn't like that. All right, I'm going to say PAS $word PAS $word. Didn't like that either. What does it want? Oh, one number. All right. You know what? I'm just going to use a password that I use for a lot of this stuff, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. All right. It accepted that. You're not going to have to log into this anyway, so it doesn't matter that you don't have the password. So by the way, after I set all this up and record the video, I'm just going to delete everything. So this is just really temporary. All right, so our subscription is free trial. All right, let me follow along here. Oops. Okay. So we're going to create a new resource group. We'll just call it, again, the GU Tech Eco House resource group. And in Azure, what the new way they do things is that you set up all of these resources. You can have multiple resources that are set up under a resource group. And it's just an easier way to categorize all the resources you have. Think of it like a folder that you put all your resources in. And so, yeah. And I'm going to use the West India data center location. They're going to have a couple opening up in the UAE, but they're not ready yet. The closest one to Oman is West India. And the reason for using something close to Oman is that theoretically everything should run faster. You should get web pages served to you faster if the data center is closer to your location. Do we already have a Windows license? No. All right, now we're going to choose the virtual machine size. And let's see where we are. All right, we created our resource group. We picked the location, West India. Select the size for the VM. All right, what I've used, and it's worked fine since I've had it, is the A1 Basic. All right, so you can see here, A1 Basic has, it's for general purpose, just general purpose use, which is really what we have. If we had a website that had a lot of traffic, then we'd use something else, but it's a general purpose server, one virtual CPU, 1.75 gigabytes of RAM, 2 data disks, and I actually don't use I don't create my own data disks. I just looked into I wasn't even aware of this option before, but I looked into it earlier today. I just store all the data on the operating system disk, which is configured automatically for you. It seems to have worked fine. You can do whatever you want though. I guess that's input output operations. I've just never had a problem with any of these settings, so we'll just go with them. Hard disk drive, $29.02 per month, and that's about what I pay for the server I have running. So that seems about accurate. So I'm going to select it. Okay, now there's all these more detailed settings, which are pretty confusing for somebody like me. But fortunately, they say under settings, leave the defaults and select OK. So we'll go ahead and do that. I started to look into these earlier today, and it's just not worth it. We'll see if everything works fine with the defaults. So when I clicked OK, it did ask me to indicate which public inbound ports we wanted to be open. And this is important because we're setting up a web server, CSI web server, and the traffic is going to come in over port 80 if we use HTTP, or port, I think it's 443 if we use HTTPS. So let's open up those ports. And I don't use SSH, but maybe you guys might. So we'll open that port 22, and then open the port for remote desktop, which is 3389. We're not going to have a database, a Microsoft SQL database, so we don't need that port open. All right, let's try OK again. Okay, that seems to have worked. All right, so here's all the summary information. I'm actually going to download the template. You know what? There's no point. That was simple enough. I just don't want to. Okay, the template is if you want to provision this setup over and over again. That way you have a template, but you could just follow along with the video and see the settings I picked if you want to copy it. All right, so now we're creating Azure is creating the deployment that we just selected. So this will take a while. So if we take note of the time here, it's 11:56 p.m. And I tried this earlier today and it took, I don't know, maybe it took 20 minutes, something like that. So this could take quite a while.